that have been reported to the Met about gang, knife and gun crime.
Drop your gun. And knife save life.
My name is Patrick, and a few of you know me, and I have a very bad experience as a parent with my son, and from what I went through, the experience was that it was so painful because I was sent to prison and all that, because the police took the side of my son, not because they did not know, but the son made allegations against me. Why should we blame the police sometimes, yet between we as a community in the house, can't we deal with the problems first before we have the exit? All the time the police has to be involved. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Mine is a statement, it's not a question. Ugandan parents in London here, we have seen so much, and actually we have lost our culture. Because at home, everybody is a parent of a child. A child is not a parent of one family. So as that gentleman was saying, if the family has a problem with the children, I think it would be better to contact another family to come and help and counsel that kid, and instead of, as he said, talking to the police. If we can help each other, I don't know how we are going to do that. Maybe make an association, or we have parents who are counseling, like a social worker here, to give advice before we go to the police. Our children take us to the police, or the children, because people say in this country, the police or the administrators, they listen to the children more than the parents.
Children are liars.
Okay, second one. Even parents, I think we are too sensitive.
Yeah.
I think we should be happy for the work of the police. Our children are very complicated. Yes, parents are. I have my friends, family, where children of 14, 15 are not coming back home until 9 o'clock. So surely, where are those children at that time? So they're going to join gangs and whatever. I think we should also be sensitive.
I'm just going to get all comments to go, and then I'll hand back to Depesh because the time's running. I told you the event runs real quickly. Bear with me.
Yeah, my name is Richard Aguma. I'm a probation officer by profession, and I was a detective inspector before that. So I know a bit about. Yeah, so I would like you people who are gathered here to approach this gun and gun crime with an open mind, because really it's very easy to lay the blame on one side, but not knowing that the problem actually starts from home. I just want to say one thing, because I studied psychology, and most of the children whom you are saying are now spoiled. Actually, they get spoiled from the age of 0 to 8. Once the parent gets it wrong, then you reap the benefit. That's what is happening now. You're seeing the children who are unruly. To add to the three things you say, there are children who cannot hold conversation. They just want to fight instead of questioning something and then arguing out. They don't have that social skills to deal with issues. So we are blaming the police, we are blaming everybody else, but we are not blaming ourselves as parents. Because once you get it wrong, let me tell you one thing, because I deal with people from 18 to 100. And most, if you go to prisons, the black population in prison is horrendous. I've just been to one yesterday. There are too many. And you question, what has gone wrong? Then you must then come back to the parents. The parents have something that they have not done right. That's why these kids are in prison. If they had done things right, we would not be sitting here having this conversation.
I appreciate the police officer's comments. I'm a journalist by profession, and I'm very interested in this knife and gun crime issue as it affects my community. Although I've not suffered any, I've not lost any member, but of course I believe that if young Ugandans are being killed, it affects me because those are my people. Now, of course, it is true that sometimes the police officers follow a certain profile. They look out for certain features or behavior in people, but there's also police bias is also documented. If some of you can research on that David Lammy report, it was recently published by an MP of Tottenham, and it reviewed, it made recommendations about police bias towards stop and search when it comes to black people. I've also met a black judge, and he was making he was speaking about this police bias about stop and search when it comes to young black people. So while some young black people give police officers reason to stop and search them, there's also prejudices. There are prejudices. Not all people that are stopped and searched were hoods. There could be police bias. There's also sometimes an excessive use of force when arresting young black people, because the manner that sometimes the police operates is based on prejudices. They have some institutional prejudices, like young black people are violent, so some of them could use excessive force, and this is documented in reports that have been commissioned by government, so we can't dismiss them.
But when we say children, we actually say children and young people. And our young people actually up to the age of 18, and then they can go up to 25 sometimes. And for us, we have what we call every child matters. And like Ms. Santege says, that you don't want any child to die. And for us as social workers, we look at children involved in gun and knife crime as both perpetrators and victims. So every time you talk about gun and knife crime, we talk about a perpetrator and a victim. But again, because we are social workers, we look after all of them because every child matters regardless. So in every local authority, there is a team in the social services that deals with this particular area, which is very sensitive. And we work closely with the police. I think that's when we work closely most of the time. So if you think that your child's behavior is changing, and mothers especially, you can't know when your child is changing. We tend to work mainly with mothers, even with the fathers, when they are the main carers. But what I have to tell you is, when your child starts missing school, be concerned. If your child hasn't been coming home after 9 and they start coming home after 9, be concerned. I'm telling you, don't take those stories that I was hanging out with my friends. There's a lot going on in London at the moment. My team, I call them my children, because we are the corporate parents. You know, when they take away your children, we are now their parents when you're not there. So they call us the corporate parents on behalf of the government. But what I can tell you is that when the child goes into care, they become even more vulnerable. Because they are isolated from the family, then they start looking for any friend they can find who shows some kind of love and care. And like our friend, the probation officer said, that children from the age of 0 to 8, actually they start, like psychology shows that actually they get what they call attachment. Now, attachment is a very serious thing for everybody, even all of us need that, but you don't start learning to become attached after you become an adult. So it's very important from an early age that you secure your child. Let your child know that they can run to you if they're scared. If they're confused, let them have the confidence to come and talk to you. They associate gun and knife crime with poor places, high-rise buildings, and those areas which are really deprived.
But I can also tell you that we also have evidence of children who have really done well from those communities. So if you're living in those old buildings, don't worry. Your children will still do well, but it only means that you have a bigger job to do than somebody living in Chiswick or some other area. And like I said, the telltale signs are always very clear. This is what they tell us as social workers working with teenagers. If your child has been dressing in a certain way and all of a sudden they start putting on certain hoods, don't think it's a style. That is something else, like the police officer said. They are trying to fit in somewhere. And you want to know where they're trying to fit in, because that may be a wrong place for them. Above all, try to have a relationship. I know that during this stage, children don't think they need to learn from parents, but show your availability. I know we all work so many hours. And sometimes our parents, when we tell them what their children have been up to, they cannot believe it, because they cannot believe that the child has been sleeping home every day, but they have no clue what the child has been up to. And again, gun and knife crime is a crime, as you can get it. It means your child is going to be sent to prison. It also means your child may be taken away from you, because if we think you have an older child who is involved in gun and knife crime, and you have a young person or a young child, we think you're not managing the situation and this child is likely to be recruited. We shall get that child away from you. So you are likely to lose that child as well. So look at it as a bigger thing. And again, like I said, mothers play a bigger role, because for us we have this supernatural wisdom that God gave us to even, we are not suspicious people, but we tend to read things as they come out as mothers. You can know when your child is changing. And like also the police officer said, that these young people, sometimes they're like 13 years old, you'll be surprised. 13-year-old comes home with a wound that they can't explain. Don't just say they fell down. Try to find out, how did you sustain that wound? It may be actually cut. That is just a sign somebody told them, if you tell them this is what is going to happen to you, and they give them that cut. If you find that out, don't be alarmed and say, oh my God, I can't tell the police they are going to do this. You can reach out to social services.